clear or not too loud and clear? All right. Well, good morning, and I just want to thank you for being here, all of you, especially our guest of honor, Vicki, who was a dear friend of mine and ours, of our family, American Legion Commander of Post 33, but we'll get into that shortly. I would thank all of my guild members and my Southwest members for being here, and our church members, and all of you for coming. So, I'm Robin Shreve, in case you don't know me, and I do belong to the Sorority Sisters Quilting Guild here in this area in Harris County. I'm also the group leader for the Quilts of Valor that we are part of, the National Foundation. First of all, I'd like for all of you to stand, please, and we're going to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you may be seated. Until I have, prerequisite, this is a new venture for us, Quilts of Valor. We're only been a part of the foundation for a couple of months, and so I'm going to read the information that I want you to hear, so you're not missing out anything that I might forget to tell you. So I think it's important for you to know all about the foundation and why we recognize and award people with Quilts of Valor. So in 2003, while her son deployed into Iraq, a quilter named Catherine Roberts started the movement that became Quilts of Valor. She stated that she had a dream one night, which was as vivid as real life. I saw a young man sitting on the side of his bed in the middle of the night, hunched over. The permeating feeling was one of utter despair. I could see his war demons clustered around, dragging him down into an emotional gutter. Then, as if leaving a movie, I saw him in the next scene, wrapped up in a quilt. His whole demeanor changed from one of despair to one of hope and well-being. The quilt had made this dramatic change. The message of the dream was, quilts equal healing. Since that time, over 345,000 Quilts of Valor have been awarded around the United States and in other countries. Our mission is to cover service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing Quilts of Valor. The meaning of a Quilt of Valor. Before we award this quilt, we want you to know that it is a formal expression of appreciation from a grateful nation. This quilt brings a three-part message from our hearts. First, we thank you for your service. We thank you for leaving all you hold dear to you, whether in time of crisis or in time of peace. Next, our quilters know that freedom is not free. The cost of our freedom is the dedication of lives of men and women like you, Vicki, and these quilts are meant to say thank you for your sacrifice. And finally, this quilt is meant to offer comfort to you and to remind you that although your family and friends cannot always be with you, you are forever in our thoughts and our hearts. Our quilts were awarded, not just handed out like a magazine or a video. The Quilt of Valor unequivocally says thank you for your service and sacrifice in serving our nation. A Quilt of Valor is not a charity quilt. A Quilt of Valor is not a blanket. If you're a quilter, you know a quilt consists of 3 layers held together by its quilting stitches. We like to think of the layers in this way. The top of the quilt, with its many colors, shapes, and fabrics, represents the communities and the many individuals we are. The batting, the filler, is the center of the quilt. It's warmth. It represents our hope that this quilt will bring warmth, comfort, peace, and healing to the individual who receives it. The backing is the strength that supports the other layers. It represents the strength of the recipient, the support of his or her family, our communities, and our nation. Each stitch that holds the layers together represents love, gratitude, and sometimes the tears of the maker. Each Quilt of Valor is formed by loving hands that join bits of fabric together, one piece at a time. A Quilt of Valor may be fashioned by only 1 or 2 individuals, or it may come together through a combined effort of many women and men of all skill levels. Quilters often work together in sewing groups to create these quilts. As we quilt, we talk about our families and our friends and how grateful we are to those who will be receiving what we call our quilty hug when we wrap them in a Quilt of Valor. Now, through this quilt, you become part of our quilting family. We believe that as we are sewing, love, care, and gratitude flow from our hearts through our hands into the quilts we make. All of us as quilters want you to know, through our quilts, you are forever in our hearts. Information about our recipient. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to award Command Sergeant Major Retired Vicki Dykes with her Quilt of Valor on behalf of the Quilts of Valor Foundation and the Sorority Sisters Quilting Guild. Today, we hope to bring her honor and comfort, though we may never know the depth of her sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America. As a gesture of gratitude from a grateful nation, we ask you to please come forward. Stand behind me. Vicki Smith Dykes retired from the United States Army as a Command Sergeant Major in 2004. She served in the Army from 1976 to 2004. And after the military service, Vicki worked as a civilian at Fort Moore from 2004 to 2023. Just a few days ago. Congratulations. Command Sergeant Major Dykes is the recipient of numerous awards, including Horatio Gates Medal. She was also inducted into the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club. Her duty stations included Fort Hood, Fort Moore, Fort Stewart, Fort Bliss, Fort Jackson, Korea, Germany, and Southwest Asia. She served during Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and the Cold War. She continues to serve her community, state, and nation by volunteering with several veterans organizations, including the American Legion National Headquarters, American Legion Post 333, Retired Sergeant Majors Association, and the Fort Moore Sergeant Majors Association. And now, I would like to say any words before we trade you.
I just want to say I'm honored and I'm humbled that you thought enough of me to award this quilt to me, and I appreciate it, and I thank you so much. And I would like to thank all of my friends and everybody else for being here this morning to watch this occasion.
Very good. On each quilt, there's a label that will tell you a little bit about this quilt. As of today, the story of this quilt becomes your story, Vicki. We hope you will keep this quilt with you as a tangible reminder that there are millions of men and women across the land who are forever in your debt, and that it is our pleasure to honor you with the Quilt of Valor. Thank you. We would like to get a picture of Vicki and her family and her friends that are here to